The Fantasy Footballer Studio is sponsored by Walmart. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Friday, September 12th. Jason Moore, Mike Wright, Andy Holloway, the Fantasy Footballers, back with you. Deucer's Alley is full of producers. And we got a show for you today. We've got more matchups for week 2. We have news to catch you up on. We have a game to recap. And a lot's going on in the world of fantasy football. We're going to try to help you with your start-sit decisions today. And it's a good time to remind you that if you venture to our YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers, you can subscribe, watch the show, and most importantly, click that bell so you know when Mike is live 1 hour before kickoff on Sunday as we prepare those final start-sit decisions for week number 2. How are you two gentlemen doing this Friday morning?
I thought it was a very fun game. It was strangely one-sided, and yet the score, like the magic of football is that one team can feel like they're dominating, and you're like, oh, they're down 1 touchdown. How is this even possible? And
yet know that they wouldn't win.
Yes,
it was like
course.
both of those were true.
Of course, and some big performances and unfortunately some big injuries.
A couple of really sad injuries.
Yeah.
You had Jaden Reed on a touchdown catch, which was a great touchdown that he sold out for, caught, secured it, survived the ground. His collarbone did not survive the ground. And then, unfortunately, for fantasy, for him and for the Packers, that was a penalty on the play.
Yeah, which a lot of times you see those and you're like, come on.
That was a penalty.
You saw that.
A super penalty.
He had him in a full chokehold. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so he got hurt. That was very frustrating. And then Austin Eckler,
even sadder.
Achilles tear at the very end of the game. He is going to be done, and we may not see Austin Eckler again.
I would doubt it. I mean, we've talked a lot over
30.
the years about Achilles injuries, specifically for running backs, are darn near impossible to come back from. If you do, it's usually a 2-year process before you look the same at 30 years old.
Yeah,
I'm guessing, and Austin Eckler is a friend of the show. Absolutely adore him.
You could see it on his face.
He
was
just sad.
He was just sitting there basically saying, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. It was a big
and you knew it right away. That's one of those injuries. You don't always know with an ACL. It can look like it, or an MCL. But with Achilles, you don't need him to go. Usually, you're like, you don't need him to go get an MRI to know exactly what happened. It's like, oh, that was an Achilles.
It feels like I don't have any data, but it feels like a really bad year for Achilles. Like, it just feels like across all sports. Like, we've had a lot of Achilles injuries.
I
like
don't
basketball,
follow other sports.
Like, if they're basketball, and we just have had we've had to see that quite a few times in athletes. I don't know if they're training different or it's just what happens. Leading receivers for the Washington Commanders, Zach Ertz 6 for 64 and a touchdown on 8 targets. Debo 7 for 44 and a garbage.
Do we have the button?
Oh, we do.
Oh, the garbage man.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
That was the stinkiest of garbage.
We were in our
oh man,
in our live chat with the office, and Mike needed some garbage from Jaden. I wanted some garbage from Debo, and we were begging for it, and we
both got it.
We got that yum garbage.
We dove in that dumpster head first.
Gobble up all those nasty brown banana peels.
We also should talk about the fact that the Eckler injury happened late in the game. They could not run the football at all, including Jaden Daniels. I mean, the Packers defense is a swarming
Yeah.
It feels like they're playing with an extra 3 guys on the field at all times right now.
And Micah's still not full-time.
No, it's wild.
Goodness.
But one of the big stories, we had kind of said on Wednesday we would play basically everybody over Bill. Just didn't feel like the matchup for Bill was good. Yesterday, Jason did come out and say that he let me just fill in the blanks here. You said that if Washington had a good game, that you felt like Bill would have a good game. They did not have a good game. Bill did not have a good game.
Well, Bill only got 4 carries. What kind of surprised me, and you saw this the week prior, against the Packers, where it's like the heavier running back is the one that you kind of need to use in this game. And so I was just surprised they didn't go to Bill a little bit earlier. Obviously, you got down quick, and then you have to
loves his old guys.
This is exactly what I expected for Bill in this game, that there was almost going to be no opportunity to run the football, and third downs would be Eckler. And, we'll see brighter days ahead for Bill, certainly. Eckler's going to be gone. You might see Chris Rodriguez back to the active roster.
He'll be active. We'll sort through the mess as we get to the waivers, but
seems like they could use Brian Robinson pretty bad right now.
I mean, it's like Jeremy McNichols will probably take on the pass catching role. So while the people who drafted Bill, are seeing a new opportunity in front of you, we'll see. I'm gonna pump the brakes on it of like everything goes to Bill, and this team, Washington, probably needs to trade for a running back.
Yeah, they may do that. We have on the other side. Look, this game could have been much bigger for Jordan Love. He had 292 and 2. Barely missed Matthew Golden Goose, who had 2 deep targets that were just barely misses. They would have been long touchdowns. I think you're going to see a lot of big games for Jordan Love this year. He was very close to my fantasy MVP. He was very close to my guy.
They were chucking it too.
That's why. That's the exact reason. The willingness to – the play calling in Green Bay is outstanding. The fact that, look, you can't expect Jordan Love and Matthew Golden to be on the same page instantaneously. I think that changes over time, especially now that Jaden Reed is out and you're going to have to spread the ball around. But they just have so many weapons. Tucker Kraft, 6 for 124 and a touchdown, 7 targets, and really looks like a top 5 tight end candidate rest of the season.
Tucker Kraft, look, we're only 2 weeks in, but, I mean, over the draft season, it was like, for me, the big 3 guys, and then after that, I just wanted to wait on Tucker Kraft, and that is feeling pretty good right now. Because the dude is he is a yak monster. Like, his yards, he goes rumbling and stumbling down the field, and he's very hard to tackle.
Number 1 last year in yards after catch,
yards
after catch per catch.
Very much. He's got that George Kittle in him of like, I'm just going to I'm not afraid of any of you. I'm stronger. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to keep running. It's great. Josh Jacobs obviously was awesome. And my favorite part, obviously they had to get more receivers involved once Jaden Reed went down. So you saw both tight ends get involved. You saw Dontavian Wicks out there.
You're talking about hands team.
Dude, that's what I was going to bring up. The funniest thing to me was in Slack last night when you point out, you say, what? Dontavian Wicks is on the hands team? Like,
that's right, people. The team believes that Wicks can catch, which he did. I mean, he caught 4 of his 6. He was 4 for 44. This was the normal Green Bay Packers. It's spread out. Jay, you said, you're like, who do you think's going to catch the touchdown? If you bet Romeo Doubs, then you won. You got your touchdown. We'll see if the targets are more consolidated a bit here, though, with the Reed injury.
You're going to see more Savion on the field as well with Jaden Reed leaving.
He looked explosive.
Yeah, he's got they'll probably get him the ball and
get him some better cleats,
some yak opportunities. All right, it's Friday.
Footclan Friday.
During the season, every Friday, we give away a $100 gift card to fantasychamps.com to a supporter of the show, a Footclan supporter at jointhefoot.com. This week's winner is Cole43Well is the username. COL43Well. Congratulations on that $100 gift card. We appreciate your support. It's a great time to head over to jointhefoot.com, get access to the ultimate dashboard with the exclusive customized waiver wire tool, lineup optimizer, all of our in-season premium content at jointhefoot.com. Thank you for supporting the show.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Just to conclude the conversation, Jaden Reed was formally put on IR with a fractured collarbone. They expect 6 to 8 weeks and back towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Juwan Jennings still not practicing on Thursday. Shoulder injury, worked on the side. James Cook, good news, upgraded to a full practice on Thursday, just kind of got a day off, and he's back out there with the hamstring. Same with Malik Neighbors, upgraded to a full practice on Thursday. And, this is kind of how we live our lives in Miami, but Mike McDaniel says Jalen Waddle should be available for week 2. Not Darren Waller.
How many plays will Waddle be available for?
How many plays
I'm going to
he hit?
guess 3.5 plays, and then the rest of the game once he comes back.
Okay.
What are you hearing about Xavier Worthy?
Limited practice. I personally can't imagine that he plays this week. And honestly, if he plays, I would be really, really scared to put him out there. Get at least another week of practice. Get used to his new armor that he's going to have to wear on that shoulder. But overall, it is good news.
It's great news. It means you don't expect him to miss 4 weeks. They're not putting him on IR, obviously. Right. They don't have a designation of very limited in practice, but that would be my assumption, is that he was like there. But his injury it would be shocking to me if he plays this week.
All right, what else do we have going on? We have
Brock Bowers.
We're on Brock Bowers' watch.
Brock Bowers is serious. So they're a Monday Night Football game, which made it real tough. We had people saying, do I start Tucker Kraft last night? We don't have any information about Brock Bowers. I think the general wisdom was you wait for Brock Bowers, and then it's like, whoops, Kraft goes off. However, because it's a Monday Night Football game, that means that yesterday's practice report, which was Thursday, is really just the normal Wednesday in the cycle where a lot of veterans or anybody banged up, you get the day off. I saw more information that led me to believe that it's possible this is like a PCL sprain that could be a weeks-long injury. So really, truly, right now, we're just on Brock watch. You have to, if you've got Brock Bowers, you need to be on the waiver wire today, get someone to replace him, and then keep in mind, you might need to replace him on Sunday, not knowing, or unless you want to, take the shot at Myers or something.
There is an Injury Blitz episode. We release it every week for JoinTheFoot.com supporters in Premier Tier and above. Matthew Betts, our injury expert, will go over that. It comes out this afternoon, and you'll want to avail yourself of his opinions in terms of any breaking news and updates. Dallas Goedert did not practice again. Evan Ingram, though, was upgraded to a full practice.
Oh, look at that.
Evan Ingram may be playing some football this week. We get to see another week. And then I just got this news coming through that Rashad Bateman was not present at practice on Friday.
Interesting.
And we saw same with Patrick Ricard, still missing time, the fullback there.
Quinshon Judkins did participate in full practice on Thursday, so he's going to practice in full Thursday. On Friday, there was a report that he will play on Sunday without limitations. Really hard to imagine.
I'm starting to have the ability to imagine him playing a bunch.
So I have him in 2 or 3 leagues, and in one of those leagues, it's a question now. It's like, because I don't have good options. And so I don't sit there and go, Quinshon Judkins, you got to get him in your lineup immediately, because what if he gets the workload? But if you don't have any good options.
You want a bad question?
Yeah.
Do you want to feel pain?
Oh, that's all I want right now.
How about I ask you Quinshon Judkins if he's active and starting?
Of course.
Or Kenneth Walker?
I'd play Walker.
I would play Walker as well. Yeah.
No, we're not there yet with Kenneth Walker. Let's take it a little easy.
Nick Chubb over Quinshon right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's still a desperation running back play for week 1.
Look, process-wise, results may vary. Quinshon Judkins.
Right.
Quinshon Judkins
may vary.
He literally could have 5 carries and 2 touchdowns.
Side effects include nausea,
vomiting,
diarrhea.
We just you don't know. So I mean, for me and my teams, I'm playing a guy who I know is going to touch the ball 10+ times.
All right, that was News and Notes, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. Let's jump right in.
Fantasy Forecast, presented by Prize Picks.
Yesterday, we covered the Jags, Bengals, Giants, Cowboys, Bears, Lions, Rams, Titans, Patriots, Dolphins, 49ers, Saints, Bills, Jets, and the Seahawks-Steelers ball game. So if you want to hear us break those games down for fantasy, just tune into yesterday's show, and you can. It's just sitting there waiting for you. All right, today we're starting off the Cleveland Browns with Quinshon Judkins, 0-1, traveling to Baltimore for the battle with the Ravens, who are 0-1 and at home.
And
awful loss.
Angry.
Very angry, and will really, really easily win this game. Vegas line, Baltimore minus 11.
Oh, come on.
11.5.
Oh, man. That's...
Do it, Andy.
The over, no. No.
Do it.
No, not even close.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
I'm taking them to cover, though. 11.5.
I'm not.
Really?
I had it in there forever in our weekly picks. I'm like, it's 11.5. You always take the points. And I went, it's at Baltimore. I think
it's
they might
11.5. The over-under is 44. That gives the Browns 16 points. It's a tough situation to be like, hey, I'm going to go chase Dylan Sampson or Judy Tillman, Fannin. I don't like it. I really don't. I just you could have some targets. You can have some high passing volume. I think that is something you can bet on, but I'm not sure that they are going to have a lot of first downs in this game. You may see. I'm just not on the Brown side in this.
I'm
one.
still fine with the volume. Joe Flacco threw the ball 45 times last week. He's probably going to throw the ball. 45 would be the floor, I would say. Like, this could be a 50 attempt Joe Flacco game. So there will be there may not be touchdowns, but you're talking 5.
How many attempts last
60,
week?
45.
So out of 45 attempts, we were not happy with Judy. We were not happy with Njoku. We got the touchdown for Tillman. We were happy with Tillman.
We were happy with Tillman.
And Fannin, who no one started, but now they're going to try to start.
Njoku was fine. He was a little disappointing because we hoped for a big week, but then also you had Fannin was very good.
What was he? He was 3 for 37. I'm not fine with that.
Okay.
And I don't think you should be either, Jason. I think
where's your standards, man?
Tied in 23 in week 1.
Where's the Jalen Warren line for David Njoku?
3 for 37.
He's not a running back.
3 for 37. No, that's miserable.
I didn't remember it was that bad.
Okay. Well, I'm correcting you.
That being said, I do think you look at last year, the Ravens defense, would you say it was good last year? Yeah, they have a good defense. But for fantasy purposes, because they've got such a great offense, teams have to throw a lot. They were 23rd against quarterbacks, 28th against wide receivers. And so if Joe Flacco goes out there and throws the ball 50 times, someone's catching those balls, whether it's Tillman, I think is a pretty fine play, Judy, okay, Njoku. I'm still probably starting all of those as kind of Njoku's probably in, and the wide receivers are flex options that you've just got to look at who else you have. The real question here is people spent hard on Harold Fannin, and that one feels a little scary for me to throw right into the lineup after 1 week against the Bengals, who we knew going in are historically bad against tight ends.
I would play Fannin over Njoku.
You would play Fannin over
that was going to be the question.
Yes, I would, because I think the way they utilized Fannin in the types of little designed stuff in the flats and out of the backfield, it's just the junk little guaranteed targets, and I feel better about that right now.
I don't hate that take. I'd still play Njoku, but I think they are both playable as top 12-ish tight ends.
All I know is that, yeah, you're right. Somebody's going to have there'll be a couple players that have a good game for the Browns, but not all of them.
Right. Yeah, no, certainly. You're not going to be happy with Judy, Fannin, Njoku, and Tillman. So the question is now running backs. You've got Dylan Sampson last week had 8 targets. If you're in a full PPR, you're off all everybody.
All of them this week. I'm off all of them this week. We're not going to get to run the ball that much. I mean, you could roll the dice with Sampson, hoping you get targets, but I don't know what the Judkins utility will be. I feel like it's a wait and see weekend for Cleveland.
Yeah, I would prefer that route. If I were to start one, including Judkins, it would be Sampson. I mean, Sampson last week was the running back 16 in half PPR. When you get 8 receptions, 8 for 64 is a good wide receiver.
Yep.
So they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. I'm fine starting Sampson.
You play Lamar, you play Henry, you play Zay Flowers, but is that the end of the story for Baltimore this week?
Yeah. Isaiah Likely is practicing. We will see what his status is going to be, but
I don't think he was
not.
Yeah,
I think he's
like,
working on the side.
I think he had his helmet which was like a big deal.
Okay.
So I don't think he's like practicing.
Those
to the
things
point
are
where
pretty heavy.
They're pretty heavy, especially if you put that guardian cap on. You know
he
what?
was working
NFL
out in front of some people.
NFL needs to institute a universal everyone must wear a guardian cap rule, because honestly, it might be better for players, but when no one else does and one guy does, you just look so stupid. You just look so stupid out there.
You are very
Savion and Dobbs did it.
Yeah, so I want them all, because then it's like, hey, you're all looking the same.
Yeah, or just
so,
can we just
they
get a
don't
better?
bother
Can
me
we just
at
get a
all.
better helmet?
Right.
Yeah,
I think they've been trying.
Yeah. Denver.
Yeah, I think if we had a path to that, the NFL after concussion gate, they would have figured it out.
I'm not sure the guardian caps are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are effective.
I don't know if they are.
We don't know.
I remember reading some stuff. There might be some marginal, tiny bit of data difference, but
I feel like they can make them look better, though. Like the same exact guardian cap. I feel like they're doing a bad job with the logo on it or something. I don't know.
I think it's because they have giant heads, Jason.
It's also it's bumpy,
right?
So they have to like put a sheet over the bumpiness, and they're doing their best, Jason. They're trying to protect their brains.
I'm just telling them to protect all of them.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. The rest of the matchups coming up, starting with Denver.
Lowe's knows Sundays are for football, so tackle your home improvement projects by Saturday and earn your Sunday with great deals on Cobalt power tools, Pit Boss grills, LG appliances, and more. Then, once your to-do list is done, get ready to kick back, relax, and enjoy the game. Shop in-store or online now and earn your Sunday with help from Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
The Denver Broncos limped to a victory in Week 1. They are 1-0. They traveled to Indianapolis, who looked great in Week 1, also 1-0. Vegas has Denver 1.5-point road favorites, over under a 43.5. Didn't get the offensive performance from the Broncos we were hoping for in Week 1, but the Colts got everything they could have ever dreamed from Daniel Jones, who was very, very, very good in Week 1. So
Johnny Taylor disagrees.
Johnny Taylor disagrees that Daniel Jones was good?
No, he disagrees that Daniel Jones got the production that everyone wanted.
Right.
He stole from Johnny Taylor
right
at the goal line.
I would have made a bigger deal about that because I've got Jonathan Taylor and 2 touchdowns vultured. Really, really upsetting. However, Jonathan Taylor had 2 opportunities to get the touchdown before they gave Daniel Jones. And that second one, it was like I couldn't believe Jonathan Taylor didn't get in, and one guy tackled him. So shame on you for allowing that tackle. Daniel Jones come in. There was a punishment and a deserved punishment.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 22 for 29 through the air last week. Tough task facing the Denver defense, certainly. By the way, the last time Jonathan Taylor played the Broncos, he had that huge long touchdown run where he fumbled it.
Dropped the ball backwards
before he crossed the goal line. He does not want to get in there.
Yeah.
But I said it would be Tyler Warren getting some of these tush pushes. It was Daniel Jones that got them. That will be something in play all year long when you have Daniel Jones because, hey, they worked. They worked, and that's what happens. But Jonathan Taylor did look good in Week 1. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Bo Nix, a lot of people drafted him fairly high. Is he right back out there completely giving him a pass on the disappointing Week 1? Is that your approach, Mike? Are you looking to find somebody else? He was the quarterback 27 in Week 1.
There were 2 different questions.
Sorry, go on.
I am putting him right back out there. I am not giving him a pass that was a really pathetic opening performance of just all these trick shots of Bo Nix.
A bunch of dude perfect stuff.
Yeah, like he's on the run. He's like, check this out. And you're like, zoom. You're like, bro, set your feet. Set your feet. You're not Patrick Mahomes yet. Just set him.
It really felt like he got full of himself.
Set him. Get your mechanics in and make a good throw. So I'm not giving him the pass, but I am going to play him again this week.
It'll be really interesting to see because the Broncos looked terrible and the Colts looked great. But the Colts also played the Dolphins, who looked terrible.
Yeah,
so
it's TBD.
Is the Colts defense somewhat responsible for what we saw against the Miami Dolphins? We don't really know yet. We didn't expect the Colts to have a great defense, but I think there's an opportunity here for them to present difficulties for the for the Broncos in the Colts. This is they were in Indy, so this is they stayed home and home here for Indy.
Right. So wide receivers for the Colts. Michael Pittman's last 3 games, 9 for 109 with a score, 6 for 72, 6 for 80 and a score. Now the Denver Broncos defense is different. Do you have Jay? You're kind of now the resident Michael Pittman.
I am. I've got him. I've got him everywhere. I believe in him. I think he's I think he's going to be a wide receiver 2 this entire season.
So he's still a play.
And he is not going to be in my lineup this week.
Okay. Who are you putting in over?
So currently, and this is my league of record roster, I have Pittman on the bench. I have Keon Coleman and Cedric Tillman in ahead. The Broncos defense is really, really good. Pat Surtain came up on the injury report with a groin, so I'm monitoring that. But assuming Surtain is there with the Broncos defense, I think Pittman's going to be great this year. This is not a matchup I'm looking forward to playing him. I think I go Pittman there. Stephon Diggs didn't even play half the snaps.
Yeah, he still had
targeted.
Yeah, no, he was. Well, sure, but Pittman had a better game last week.
Sure.
Keon Coleman.
I would continue putting Keon Coleman in ahead of Pittman. That's one of the players I have in my lineup ahead of him.
I made you a trade offer for him.
I did see that. I have not rejected it, but I'm going to reject it. But I haven't yet. It was a fair offer. Well, I was going to look at countering, but I left it there.
You're good. Yeah, I thought it was okay. People probably want to know what it is.
I don't remember. Do you?
I believe I offered you Travis Hunter.
Oh, it was the 3rd round pick.
And Nick Chubb for Keon Coleman in a 3rd round draft pick.
Yeah, the 3rd is way too. People might not understand the value of our league, but a 3rd is way too much for that. But it was a fair trade. I don't think it was bad.
Way too much or fair? It's tough. It's tough.
It wasn't.
Is that what you were laughing at, Al?
Exactly what I was thinking. When I say it's a fair
real
trade,
5 to 10.
When I say it's a fair trade, I mean it was not.
Let's see if we can get something done.
It was not an egregious offer.
No, I mean Travis Hunter. Would you rather, if I offered you Travis Hunter for Keon Coleman straight up, what would you do?
Oh man, that's interesting.
Because we know what the draft.
What week is Waldron fired? Okay, that's my biggest question. That's a good question.
I thought about it, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
I don't either. Wow.
So I didn't.
Don't ask me.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm not involved.
All right. Jonathan Taylor, you play him.
Yep.
Dobbins and Harvey, I would expect to see pretty much the same thing as last week, personally. I think Dobbins will be a good play when he scores for Denver, and Harvey will be a limited snap, high upside player. Do you have any difference of opinion from week 1 to week 2, Mike?
I don't think so. There was some press conferences where they were talking about we had some disappointments on offense and then highlighting that they were very pleased with RJ Harvey. That doesn't mean he's going to get in there more. It's bidet. Like 6 targets in the first half. If that's really what Sean Payton's going to do for the time being, which is bizarre, but this is how he's going to run the offense. And until Harvey's a sketchy play until we see that transition to being Dobbins and RJ Harvey at the top.
Cortland Sutton, a 24% target share in week 1.
Yeah, Sutton's
play him, but
week.
do you play Franklin Mims or Bryant or just wait?
I think you wait.
I think you have to wait. The Marvin Mims snaps of the preseason did not continue, and he was down to a halftime player. So, I mean, look, 53% of the snaps for Mims, I guess, it's
still an upgrade.
That's an upgrade over last year, but it was not the hope that we saw in the preseason.
And you don't know if that's him still coming back off that injury he suffered late in the preseason and he's getting worked back into the role that he had prior to that injury, or whether it's basically Cortland Sutton and then packages with everybody else. And honestly, that's what I expect going forward unless someone just demands that they are winning on every route. I think it's going to be Mims and Franklin and a little bit of Pat Bryant until,
We only got 1 touchdown from Nix last week, too. So if we can get a better performance for the offense, we'll have this discussion
Those
again.
guys are best ball players.
Tyler Warren is a dog.
Yes.
Play him. And then Evan Ingram or Johnny Smith this week. What would you do?
Jonnu.
Yeah, I don't think
You don't want to mess around with the injury, right?
Correct.
Carolina's 0-1. They travel to Arizona 1-0. Vegas line Arizona -6.5 at home, over under 44 points, gives Carolina 19 implied points, Arizona 25.5. You'll be happy the game's in a dome. We've got, maybe they'll have the roof open, but probably not because it's hot.
It's a little hot.
It's a little hot. All right, we're home. The Cardinals are home. The Panthers, everything that happened in week 1 for the Panthers was depressing to me.
Yeah.
There just wasn't any semblance of what we saw at the end of the year with Bryce Young. It's, the Cardinals are heavy favorites in every game where they're 6+ point favorites. Here's Kyler's numbers. 251 passing yards, 71% completion percentage, and the Cardinals covered the spread in 8 of 12. So hopefully he looks better. He was very sick last week. We are going to take solace in the fact he was sick because we were sick when we watched him. There is some good indications that maybe they're going to use Marvin Harrison a little bit better this year so far through week 1.
Yeah, Kyle tweeted out, the Borgogan tweeted out the difference in his routes, and the uptick in crossing routes was cross your fingers that I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I can't power through. I'm sorry for that. But we need that to stick. That was the problem with Marv last year, is everything they drew up for him was difficult. And we need him to get easier, just pitch catch, and then let your top 5 talent do what he does.
I think it was really heartening. Like that, going back and looking at his utilization made me excited for Marv going forward. And I think in this matchup, you could pretty much start every single Cardinal that's questionable. Kyler is a great start this week. James Conner, goodness gracious, the Carolina Panthers are the worst run defense we've ever seen at this point in time. Marvin Harrison is locked in. And while I don't
Trey McBride.
Yes, Trey McBride, of course. Well, I wouldn't sit there and recommend, hey, start Trey Benson.
I think in a pinch.
Yeah, if you're a 0 RB team that has to start someone, you can easily see how it could get done in this match.
I agree.
33% of snaps. That is the tied for the highest snap percentage of his rookie year, Trey Benson. Chuba, you play him because he's a good running back, and it just works out for Chuba no matter what happens. Tet McMillan, the targets were there, the production.
He dollied it. He had 9 targets. He caught 5 of them.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, okay.
I like it. Redemption.
I had to put that.
Oh, yeah. He was working.
He's one of 8 first-round wide receivers to see 9+ targets in their first game. We knew he would be the guy. Jason, you admitted yesterday you have you went from Xavier Legette apologist to despiser in 24 hours.
I mean, in 22 seconds. Just watching the game, like I really wanted
that
Legette.
one play was just preposterous. Of the all wide receivers drag the feet, and he was just like, I'm going to stroll through this catch.
He had 5 yards to get that second foot down, and he's just like, I'm going to run right out of bounds. He's not a good wide receiver. I mean, He's not. He's a good athlete.
Yes,
he's a great
athlete.
He was so impressive his final collegiate year. He's a first-round NFL draft pick. The opportunity is in front of him going into year 2. He reminds me situationally a lot of Keon Coleman.
Yes,
and it's like, okay, I'm going to bet on those guys. I'm going to take shots. And I drafted a lot of Keon Coleman. I drafted a lot of Legette. And I feel like one weekend we've got our answer. One of them stepped forward, and one of them stepped out of bounds.
Yank you. I was hoping you'd go there. Philadelphia 1-0 taking on the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Chiefs are 0-1. Vegas line here, Philly -1.5 road favorites. I don't know if we have an answer to this question, Kyle, if you're listening. I mean, when have the Chiefs been home underdogs?
Like in the Patrick Mahomes era?
Yeah, like have we had that in years?
That has to never
He's going to look
happened.
it up. I don't know if it's ever happened, at least in several years. This is the Super Bowl rematch, and we've got the Eagles as favorites. So 46.5 point over-under. This is, Patrick Mahomes was pretty good in week 1 from a fantasy perspective, right? He was 24 for 39. He ran a ton, 6 for 57 on the ground. We don't know if we'll have Xavier Worthy or not. We think we probably won't. Hollywood Brown dominated target share in his absence. Juju will be involved. I've already told you, Tyquan Thornton will
42-yard
he will
touchdown
score
reception.
A 42-yard touchdown in this game.
So that means you're starting him over most questionable pieces.
See, right? I was asked that question, and what my response,
because that is a guaranteed 10 points.
It is a guaranteed
That's
touchdown,
a lot.
but when I make a touchdown guarantee, that is really a heart decision. So if you want to move him up in your ranks via your heart and believing, you can
just
do that.
Not your analytical ranks.
Yeah, a touchdown guarantee. I mean, this is He's also going to catch a pass on the first drive, just so you know.
Okay.
If you need that.
Is it the touchdown?
No.
No.
Just a catch.
Is he the first touchdown of the game?
We'll find out.
For a friend.
I got something to watch in this one. So I wonder what we'll see from Travis Kelce this week.
Man, it was week 1 is it's devastating. Honestly, the fact that Worthy goes out immediately, and then Travis Kelce ends up with 4 targets, 2 for 47. Yeah, he caught the touchdown, but that is an 11% target share for Travis Kelce for a team that then fully featured Hollywood Brown.
It was early.
Bad.
It was early when it happened to Worthy, so you can look at this and say, hey, let's design some stuff to get Kelce involved again.
Well, I mean, but the thing about Kelce is you don't even fully design it. It's okay, here's the route. We know we're going to go to Kelce. It is go do something.
They got shut down.
Yeah.
They got shut down.
Most recent example, obviously, these teams played in the Super Bowl. In that Super Bowl, you had Xavier Worthy, who had 8 for 157, and 2 was the star, and Travis Kelce over there, 4 for 39 in the Super Bowl.
So are you
obviously,
playing
this
him?
is. I mean, he's a low-end start for me. There are guys.
Juwan Johnson.
I would play Juwan Johnson over Travis
Kyle
Kelce.
Pitts.
I'd play Pitts over Kelce.
Hawkinson.
I'd play Hawkinson over
Brenton
Kelce.
Strange.
That one, I think Strange's floor is higher, but Kelce's. I would go Kelce over.
Did you
Strange.
say Fannin?
Nope.
I would play Kelce. I'm not as bullish on Fannin after 1 week. I am super bullish on Fannin rest of the season, but this week I'm not confident enough yet.
Isaiah Pacheco. Do we have a Pacheco problem? Since returning in Week 13 last year, 6 games played total, he scored 26 fantasy points, 3.7 yards per touch. He has not looked like
you
the
cannot play him.
Pacheco of old.
I think on a per touch basis he's okay, but he is not getting the utilization. I mean, he had 5 carries. They are splitting this work up 3 ways now. If they just split it up between him and Hunt, you cannot play him. If they're splitting it up 3 ways, you certainly can't. And if you're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, he's like a must bench. Like, honestly, I think Trey Benson is a better play than Pacheco this week.
I was going to say, I feel like we have a pretty good barometer of Ken Walker versus
Ken Walker,
like Ken Walker
sure.
or Pacheco. Okay.
The answer, by the way, they have not been home underdogs since 2022. So it's been a really, really long time. Mahomes or Herbert?
Oh, I'm Herbert.
I'd play Herbert.
Baker or Mahomes? Baker plays Houston in Houston.
I would play Baker.
Me too.
Justin Fields against Buffalo.
Yeah, I'd play Fields.
On the other side, simple enough. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Put them in your lineup.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert might miss the game, giving some more targets to the wide receiver position.
Historically, they have done very, very, very well.
At what
when
point
Goddard
would
is
you
out.
pick up Dotson? Like, let's say you come out and Dotson
this
is...
morning in my guillotine league, brother. It had to be done.
Wow. I was going to say probably never, but maybe.
Yeah, for context, people,
3 catches.
A guillotine league is 7. Are we 17 or 18 teams?
17 teams.
So that is a very, very deep roster. But I think Goddard being out is at least interesting for Dotson.
Sunday Night Football, the Falcons at 0-1 taking on the 1-0 Minnesota Vikings. Vegas line has Minnesota minus 3.5. The over-under is 44.5. One thing I noticed this week was J.J. McCarthy was not a high draft pick in fantasy. But, man, was that fun to watch. And so people, I've noticed, really, really want to start him. They really want to find a way to get him into their lineup. I
think this week it's okay. I'm not going to force him into my lineup, but I think that like Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy, I think is a fair and interesting question.
He's a consistency score of an A.
Who?
Oh,
100%.
100% of his games.
How was
so
the first
far
half consistency score?
Oh, that doesn't matter. It's how you finish, brother.
Yeah,
Offensive player of the week.
Yeah.
Just outpacing Daniel Jones from the AFC.
It is interesting. This is a matchup you certainly can roll the dice with. So if you want to play and have fun, I think J.J. McCarthy is a fine play. The Falcons' defense is not nearly as good as the Bears' defense that he faced last week. This is their home opener. They're favored by 3.5. They're projected for 24 points. A lot of, feathers in the cap of being a fine start.
So Jefferson's in, Hawkinson's in.
And I think Hawkinson's important to say, like, he had a terrible first week, and I am holding.
Oh my gosh, I hope his numbers were better than Njoku.
They're
very similar. 3 for 15.
Yeah.
That's worse. You're right. That's worse. Njoku, big week. Sorry. Go on.
No worries. But Hawkinson, I've got to give it at least another week. I will have him in my lineups if I draft it.
They were their rate of passing was much lower compared to what we're normally seeing with Kevin O'Connell. It might take a couple weeks to get that back up to speed.
We did not see anything from Thielen. He had no catches. He had a 2-point conversion.
Yeah,
Jordan Mason was Mike's start of the week.
Yep.
Aaron Jones was the RB12 on 11 opportunities. If you were staring that decision down, a lot of people probably took Aaron Jones and maybe got Mason later. Who would you start, Jason?
I would start Aaron Jones still. I think he's the vet. I
know he's the vet.
Yes.
I think he gets the veteran treatment and will have the first opportunities. This run defense, I think, is still even a little softer. And then the passing work, to me, is still what scares me on the Jordan Mason side. Jordan Mason, I think, has a higher probability of getting a rushing touchdown in this game and would be a great start for that reason. But outside of, like, if he doesn't get a touchdown, he could end up with 70 yards, have a great game, look great, and you'd be really disappointed in fantasy if he doesn't catch the ball. So that's where I'd rather have the more ways to score for Aaron Jones.
Let me ask you a question. If you had to rate the Falcons' offensive performance in week 1, 1 is the biggest sad face possible, and 10 is you're grinning from ear to ear. On the count of 3, I want to hear the number that you would define from what you saw on film. So 1 to 10.
Okay.
Can we use decimals, or there's got to be whole numbers here?
Whole numbers.
Whole numbers. 3, 2, 1.
6.
5.
Okay. So we're kind of in the
You
middle.
did not participate?
Oh, no, I was setting you up. I'm the host. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you want an answer from me?
I would
2,
love
3.
your answer.
5.
Okay.
So Bijan, let's talk about Bijan for a moment, because we may have seen the reception mask something interesting in week 1. He was amazing in the passing game, and if that continues, you're never going to have a problem. He was 6 for 100 through the air, but he was only 12 for 24 on the ground, and the bigger thing that has been brought up, or maybe not brought up enough, he really split the work with Tyler Algier in the backfield.
He split the rushing work.
Just to be clear, it's stupid.
It is stupid I wonder how much of that was game plan. Obviously, they know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers very, very well. They know Vita Vea. They know how difficult it is to run on the Buccaneers' defensive line. And so during that game, Bijan wasn't sharing the field that much. He was 83% of snaps. You love to see that. He was just half the time he was a wide receiver, and then he split the running back carries. So this will be a really interesting test to see if does it go more 70-30 rushing attempts, or is it still more 50-50 rushing attempts, which would then be very, very stupid.
Well, they are facing a terribly, terribly difficult rushing defense, probably worse than last week. I mean, you're going to have Jalen Carter back, and we don't like running on the Eagles. Oh, I am a fool.
The
I am
Vikings?
a fool.
You scared me.
Oh,
I was wondering what
I thought Carter got traded.
They are the Vikings are a good run D for sure.
Yeah.
Last year
they were 6th against the run, and I put Philadelphia in their place.
Yeah, in week 1 they were 6th against the run. Last season they were 3rd against the run. They're a very difficult run team as well. So hopefully the nice thing that we saw from last week is that if you're in a difficult matchup for running backs, then just throw them the ball. Just get them out in space. So there is, a piece of me that can see how that could be worrisome, but I think it's a beneficial thing. It's like Devon Achane. You don't have to worry about how good he is on the ground usually, because he's used as much as a wide receiver is.
And it wasn't that they were 50-50 in carries at the end of last year, talking Algier and Bijan, but Algier is still in a lot of those games after the bye week, got a lot of attempts. I think that what happened was Bijan was very ineffective, and they said, okay, we'll try Algier, and then Algier was very ineffective. It comes down to catching the ball, so Bijan's still fine.
Kyle Pitts is your start of the week, Mike?
Yep. In a world of needing tight ends, I think that he should be an okay play. Now, I with the news that sounds like Darnell Mooney might play, that does create a downgrade in my mind to Kyle Pitts.
Mooney and London were limited on Thursday. We'll follow the injury reports today. And we'll take a break. I'll try to remember which teams are playing each other.
This episode is brought to you by NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. This season, make sure to subscribe to NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, where you will get every game, every Sunday, all in one place. NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV gives you everything you need to win Sunday. Watch up to 4 games at once with multi-view, or follow your fantasy team and watch the game on one screen. You can even catch up to live with key plays. Now, get NFL Sunday Ticket month to month and cancel at any time. Go to youtube.com/fantasyfootballers to sign up today. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games. Base plan required. Renews every month during the 2025 regular season only. Your membership for the following month can be canceled anytime before your renewal date. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Commercial use excluded. No refunds.
All right, are we happy about the Monday Night Football doubleheader?
I am.
Because it's spread out.
7 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Man, East Coast.
Get wrecked. Wait.
Want to ruin your Monday? Oh, guess what? You get Monday night.
Is everyone,
you get Tuesday morning Tuesday morning football.
Is everyone canceling work on Tuesday?
How do look, we're West Coast guys.
Best Coast, thank you.
And I really don't know
that.
How does this work? I mean, hold on. Is Kyle on the microphone? Can we record Kyle?
He is, yeah.
Kyle, you're back in Georgia.
East Coast.
Where Jalen Carter played. And how do you survive?
I go to sleep.
Oh, you don't watch? You don't watch it?
Big football fan Kyle.
I watch it in the morning before you guys wake up.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you don't get to live in the...
I just thought maybe East Coasters they just always stay up 3 hours later than
most of
everybody
them
else.
do. Kyle is a very responsible
father.
Is a 10 p.m. start.
That's wild.
That's crazy. I am happy that it's a doubleheader, mostly because I am worried about watching the Texans this year for fun's sake.
Yeah,
like they
for funsies.
For funsies, they've got such a good defense, and right now their offensive line looks so bad that I'm worried that whether they can move the ball or not. And so I think you're going to end up with a lot of really ugly games. Not that, like, if I'm a Texans fan, I'm not pessimistic on my season outlook. I'm just speaking solely as entertainment of football. It's worrisome.
Thankfully, this is, at least last year, the Bucs were a team that we would exploit through the air.
Tampa Bay takes on the Houston Texans. Tampa won in week 1. Houston lost. The Vegas line is Houston minus 2.5. The over-under is 42.5. This is the early game. So, it was not encouraging in week 1. C.J. Stroud and company, like not having Joe Mixon, finding their way on the run with the running game. Like I think they do need to commit to somebody a little bit more. They seem to be saying that they're going to do that with Nick Chubb, who actually was pretty good on the ground. When you think about the game script and the fact that this team was, they lost a really low-scoring, nasty game, 14-9 against the Rams. They finally started giving him the football. He ended up 13 for 60. They talked about him needing to get going. I think this will be a really defining week for whether Nick Chubb is a viable fantasy player rest of the season.
Well, the utilization will be there for Nick Chubb. They did figure that out. They came out afterwards and said they need to get him more involved. If you look at the rushing attempts broken up over the course of the team, Chubb only had 48%. But that was still the vast lion's share. Like, Dario Gumbawale had 7%. Dameon Pierce had 11%. Woody Marks had 11%. So it was mostly Chubb. The issue here is, again, this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Vita Vea and Jalen Carter. So how can you possibly
This is the team that just like they, on the ground at least, they stopped Algier and Bijan. So
right, yeah, and they have for years. They've been a tough team to run on. So Nick Chubb, that stylistically, I don't love it. I do think he'll have the work. I'm not going to, after this week, use this week's success as a barometer for whether Nick Chubb will be a good fantasy option. I think he'll have better days ahead.
Mike Evans, 1 week in, just play him and see how it goes.
Of course.
Yeah, Mike Evans has never been, honestly, the most consistent wide receiver. Even over the course of years, when you go back to when you had a wonderful My Guy pick of Mike Evans, finished awesome, still had so many down weeks. He had 8 targets, 51 yards. It wasn't great, but certainly you're going to keep playing him.
Emeka Egbuka, 2 touchdowns every week. I think we know that'll always happen forever.
I do have him.
He's on pace for 34, right?
34 touchdowns. That's what my projection has.
Good.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving, 76% of snaps, higher than any single game from his rookie year, including involvement in the passing game. I think it's going to be a really nice week for Bucky.
Yeah, you needed to, if you drafted Bucky, you just, after week 1 was not what you hoped for. I mean, it ends up not being the worst fantasy output, but you can at least wrap yourself in the blanket of his usage.
Oh, man. Rachaad White had 3 opportunities in the game, and Sean Tucker had 1. This is Bucky's backfield.
All right, Cade Otton, don't worry about it.
No.
Baker.
He's still fine as a top 12 play.
Nico Collins, did not see a single deep target. They were, Stroud was really under fire in that game. I mean, they scored 9 points.
I do think they're going to, when you watch film, a lot of this was on Stroud, and I don't necessarily blame him. I mean, if I were taking the snap, I would just start running the other way every time I got the ball. The offensive line is so bad. This is a good defensive line across from them, so there's some worries there. But you can throw on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I expect Stroud to figure some stuff out, step up in the pocket, look better. Nico is obviously still going to be in your lineup. I mean, he should have been one of our starts of the week just to make sure people are confident and not over-worried with a bad week 1.
So why don't you do it? Why don't you do it?
Okay, he's my start of the week. I've got 2.
Okay. Jaden Higgins had his first game, 11 routes. We'll see what happens in week 2. He's a wait and see and watch, and hopefully – I mean, we all want to see the Texans offense give a sign of life. Right now They seem like they just never showed up.
I'm hoping for over 60% snap for Jaden Higgins.
They have not topped 23 points scored since week 12 of last year, the Texans.
Yeah, I mean
that's how it feels.
It is how it feels. Their offensive line is such a problem. I feel like
it's offensive.
They need to just be running with 2 tight ends every single play and let Nico go figure out double coverage.
All right, the Chargers and Raiders, they're both undefeated. Los Angeles heads into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Vegas line, Chargers -3.5. The over-under is 46.5. Both offenses look good in week 1. Geno was 71% completion percentage, 362 passing yards. He's got players to take deep shots with, right, with Thornton and Trey Tucker. He's got the underneath guys, Myers and Bowers, and we'll see what happens with Bowers this week. He had a 10.6 yards per attempt. If you compare that to, look, I said Caleb made some good plays. I think he was at 6. So it's nice I like it when players are willing to chuck it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jacoby Myers is such a good play, and what we saw in week 1, especially with the immediate departure of Amari Cooper, that gave me a little bit of worry of like, okay, well, Brock is the one. He's the number 1 target. Jacoby is probably the 2, but now you've got Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's gone. Jacoby goes out and has 10 targets, catches 9 of them. I think he's going to be excellent this season. This week, you might not have Brock Bowers, so Jacoby Myers becomes extremely important.
Does that make you have some confidence in starting somebody else as well when they're at home? And, you can't run on the Chargers.
Like
you couldn't last year. You probably can't this year. And
if you're going to wait on Brock Bowers, we don't. This is very, very hypothetical, so I apologize if the news you already have it is perfectly fine. If you're going to be approaching Monday and you're not 100% sure that he's going to play, would you wait on him and then just play Mayer if Brock doesn't go?
I'd be willing to do that.
I am willing to do that, yeah. Okay. Mayer had 4 targets, 4 receptions for 38, which is obviously, as we've established, a great line for a tight end. And he did that while Brock Bowers was very involved, obviously. So if Bowers is out, I think it's worth going with Mayer.
Yeah, you watched the game last night. You said Jordan Love chucked it deep. He was 9.4 an attempt last night. That's how good Geno was in terms of downfield targets. He was at 10.6. Herbert, it was awesome to see in week 1. He's Jason's start of the week on the road here in week 2, who also got talked up on the Dino Pod this week. I'd play Herb over Dak for sure this week. I'd play him him and Fields, I would probably play Fields, but I think either one's fine. You can flip a coin. What do you think?
I've got Herbert one spot ahead of Fields, but Fields is my quarterback 7 on the week, so both are good plays. To me, Justin Herbert is a great quarterback, and Justin Fields is not, and they both can have great fantasy output, so I would rather play Herbert.
All right, we have Najee Harris. Maybe he gets more involved. Amari Hampton, where are you with him after 1 week?
I'm very encouraged by his utilization, 80% of snaps, 17 opportunities. We knew going in last week that Kansas City was going to be a very, very difficult matchup, and I don't see the Raiders as a pushover, but they're certainly not like an unstoppable defense by any means.
I have Hampton at 17 right now in my weekly rankings.
Feels appropriate.
Keenan Allen's my start of the week at wide receiver. Quentin Johnston can be played in this game. Ladd McConkey as well. I think this is going to be Kyle will be asleep, but I think this is going to be the game you look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The fact that it's in Las Vegas after that week 1 performance by the Raiders where, I saw some things I really liked. I hope Bowers can play to make this, because I think they're going to really, really need him.
Who scores more fantasy points in this game? Really think about it. Amari Hampton or Ashton Genty? Because Genty's going to be higher in everybody's rankings. He obviously drafted higher. But the touchdown opportunities and the passing work seem like they both favor Amari and Hampton.
The passing work?
The receiving work? I mean, not like dropping back to pass. But, I mean, Ashton Genty caught 2 passes last week.
So did Hampton.
Well, Hampton's wasn't his route participation better?
Maybe. He was too I mean,
they were both extremely, they're on the field all the time. And granted, I will say that the one caveat to that, they could be working Najee more and more in. For all we know, come week 4, Amari and Hampton's going to be down at, 55% of snaps. Thank you.
So what is the answer?
I'd still go Genty.
I think Hampton scores more points.
Okay. I'm having a hard time. I will go with my rankings. I've got Genty up ahead of Hampton. So it should be fun. There's a lot of fantasy relevant players in this game, and it's, a pretty close line.
What's the level with for Huge of what type of names are you willing to play him over? Because it was a hot waiver ad.
Kayshon Boutte or Quentin Johnston?
I'd play Quentin.
I think they both have some question marks, so I will go upside of Quentin.
Jalen Waddle or Quentin Johnston?
Quentin Johnston.
Keon Coleman or Quentin Johnston?
Keon Coleman.
Michael Pittman or Quentin Johnston?
This week, if Surtain is active, I'll go Huge.
All right, that'll do it for the matchups, but we still have the face-off.
Fantasy Face-Off, presented by Prize Picks.
What do we call this? Getting our feet wet? Is that what this is?
Yeah, we're warming up.
Getting our wigs on. We had
testing the water.
Every week we build a lineup based on the Prize Picks projections, and if you get that pick correct, you get to put on a crown. If it's incorrect, you look like Mike and Jason this week. And if one of you stands alone as the loser, we'll spin the wheel of shame, which did not happen this week. I feel like a winner. I was not a winner. I took DK Metcalf.
We should get a tie.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Anybody got a spare tie laying around?
I don't think we do.
I forgot mine today.
This is good.
Will a bow tie count?
Sure.
You put a bow on it.
Bow tie.
Right,
yeah. I tied, so I am not in the clown outfit.
Speaking of Ashton Genty's 2 receptions.
Yeah, you knew that number intimately.
I knew that number intimately because throughout about the second half of the game, the Falcon let us know that he had 3, and so I was a king.
Except for he didn't.
Except he was wrong, and he finished the game with 2.
James Conner's rushing projection last week was 69.5 yards. He only ended up with 39 yards in that.
It was really
in that matchup.
Disappointing.
So
blame Trey Benson.
You're in a clown wig now. So
Yep.
Our week 2 picks, I'm going to go Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. There are a few players that I was more impressed with in week 1 and their utilization, where they were on the field and how they looked. More than 61.5 receiving yards.
61.5 is shockingly low.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking more.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He had 83% of his team's receiving yards last week. So,
Oh, and I think on the show I exclaimed like, yeah, because he had a 50% target share. It was 59.
Oh, yeah.
So I apologize for my inaccuracy.
All right, my pick this week I think is pretty fun. I love Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to be involved. I think he's perfect for this offense.
this is an interesting one.
But the projection is 12.5 yards for his longest rushing attempt. So his breakaway run, will he hit 13 yards or more? I am going to say no. I'm taking less than 12.5 rushing yards, and here's why. Well, first of all, last week his longest was 7, but look at last year. Last year he only did it 3 times. 13 of 17 games he did not have one single rush attempt that was more than 12.5 yards. And in those 3 games, those just so happened to be the 3 games where he had over 80% of snaps and was basically alone. So he's going to split 50-50 here this week with Walker. And so he's just not that type of a breakaway runner.
All right, Mike, your projection here.
All right, so I'm going with Russell Wilson. His projection is 217.5 passing yards, and I am taking the less.
And I see a reason here in a bullet point reason.
Like Andy, Jason, they laid out some real good statistical.
96% of Zach Charbonnet's carries went for fewer than 15 yards last year. Bottom 5th percentile.
Amazing.
There is data here.
Yeah, check this out. Russ stinks.
Okay, that's data.
That's your reasoning?
Yeah.
Less than 217.5 passing yards.
Yeah,
due to
because he stinks.
stinking. All right. That was Fantasy Faceoff presented by Prize Picks. Check out max discounts on the app now, like Travis Kelce, at more than 0.5 receiving yards for the September 14th game. Use the code FOOTBALLERS and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's going to do it. Y'all look dumb in them wigs. Let's hope to get that turned around. Some crowns next week. Studs and Duds on Monday. Mike on Sunday Live. Don't miss it. Take care.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.